Запрошуємо до слова.
Now the floor is given to Colonel Oleksandr Motuzyanyk, Ministry of Defense of Ukraine spokesperson on ATO-related issues. Welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. During the last 24 hours, the intensity of enemy shelling in the anti-terror operation zone compared with the previous day increased. The occupants continue to use prohibited weapons, including tanks and 120mm mortars. Now the information in more detail. In the Lugansk sector, the enemy delivered precision shelling at the positions of Ukrainian armed forces 14 times. 3 times the enemy used prohibited weapons. The biggest number of enemy shellings happened in the second part of the day. In the region of Crimea, the enemy delivered fire at our positions for 3 hours using 120mm mortars and 82mm mortars, IFV weaponry, and small arms and grenade launchers. Also, the enemy used heavy mortars of 120mm of caliber against positions of ATO forces near Lugansk, Trohizbenka, and Troitska. On the whole, the enemy launched in the direction of our positions 48 mines of 120mm of caliber and 68 ammunition of 82mm of caliber. In 7 instances, Ukrainian forces returned fire with the use of grenade launchers, small arms, and weaponry of IFVs. The Donetsk sector, here, during the last 24 hours, the enemy violated the Minsk agreements, and 17 times enemy provocations were carried out in this sector, and our positions near Avdiivka, Gnutovo, and Pavlopil were shelled with the use of mortars of 120mm of caliber, and on the whole, 34 mines burst near our positions, and 20 more ammunition of 82mm of caliber hit the territory near Verkhnyataretsk, and also the enemy delivered fire near Gnutovo after 6 p.m. The enemy delivered fire with the use of a tank. And also in the aforementioned settlements and also in the region of Vodianek, Ganranitna, Kamenka, and Starognativka, the enemy 12 times actively used fire of IFVs, weaponry, and infantry weaponry. And in order to suppress the activity of the enemy, nearly in all the instances, the servicemen of the armed forces of Ukraine returned fire with the use of weapons that are not prohibited by the Minsk process. On the whole, during the last 24 hours, Russian occupation forces delivered 31 shellings of the positions of the armed forces of Ukraine, and our servicemen 22 times returned fire. 4 servicemen were wounded during the last 24 hours, and in all cases it happened in the course of enemy shelling. It's happened in the region of Avdiivka, Travneva, and Lugansk. All servicemen who were wounded were promptly evacuated to medical institutions. Now their life is no longer under threat, and their state of health is satisfactory. And at the training center of military and marine forces of the armed forces of Ukraine in Mykolaievshina, Marines who were recruited in November were sworn in. They were greeted by commanders of the military unit, representatives of state bodies, volunteers, veterans, relatives, and friends. And before this, there was a ceremony of awarding the best servicemen to mark the Day of Armed Forces of Ukraine. No questions, thank you.